So you're thinking about moving to Toronto, right? Well, in this video, I'm actually going to tell you the top 10 reasons to not move to Toronto. It's going to be an honest video, and make sure you stick around right till the end because you're going to be surprised as to what the 10th reason is. And really, if you're thinking about moving here, you need to know this stuff. Like, I'm just going to lay it all out so that when you make the decision, you can't say, I didn't warn you. So let's get started. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Nasira Jamal and I'm part of the Canada Realty group right here in the Greater Toronto area. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about working, playing, eating, sleeping, and even maybe the 10 reasons why you may not want to move to Toronto, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn your notification on so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Honestly, I get calls every day from people who are moving or relocating here, and I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving to Toronto or relocating, then make sure you either give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. You can even send that pigeon carrier. I've got your back when you're moving into the Greater Toronto area. Let's get started. So in this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 reasons why you may not want to move to Toronto. You see, I have been a realtor here for 15 years. I've lived in Canada for over 40 years and kind of know a few things that might really help you out when you're making that decision. And I felt like this would be an important video to do so that you understand that although Canada is a beautiful country, Toronto is a beautiful, booming city, there are some negatives that you need to know about. So let's get started. Number one. Okay, so I've talked about this a lot, and we cannot stress this enough. If you're coming here, you got to know about our weather. My goodness, you know, for the most part, I mean, yes, we say we have 4 seasons, but really, in my opinion, we really only have 2. Predominantly, for about 6 to 7 months of the year, we're in winter. You know, it's cold, it's snowing, blizzards, snowstorms. We've got a lot to contend with when it comes to weather. And the problem with it all is that it's long. So people get the winter blues. You'll hear about cabin fever because you can't really go out and do a whole lot unless you're a skier, which I'm not. And unless you like the outdoors in terms of, you know, doing cold sports, I call them, it's not really fun to be out, especially when it's bone chilling, wind chill factors, minus 30, minus 40 sometimes. And though those really bone-chilling months are January and February, you can't imagine how cold it is. Like when you go out, you could get frostbite, you know, when the temperatures are that low. There will be wind chill warnings. There will be, you know, talk about, you know, don't let your kids out more than 5 minutes because they can potentially get frostbitten. You will need really warm hats and mitts, waterproof boots, because when you're out in the cold, you want to ensure that you know, you've got the right attire, the right gear, and it can get expensive if you are buying some of the higher end stuff, you know, that will help you in the cold. So I'm just being honest with you. I know for many years I used to think that, you know, it mattered how I looked and how beautiful my jacket was and all the matching hats and gloves, but they didn't keep me warm, and that's just being honest. And so over the last, I think, 10 years, I've really, you know, bought the Canada Goose and the layers that I need, and I've bought things that may not be exactly pretty, but they definitely help in keeping me warm. So that is, and I know weather gets talked about a lot, okay? And I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I really want you guys to know if you're moving here to come prepared. You are going to need, like I mentioned, winter gear. You're going to need to invest in either a snowblower or shovels or a service to help you get out of your driveway. If you're, you know, purchasing a home and it's not a condominium where these things are taken care of for you, and you're going to have to do it yourself, or you're going to hire a company that does it for you. So this is one of our main negatives, is our weather. And because, like I mentioned, although there are really 4 seasons, we really want to say that we have 2. Our summers are nice. We can get a couple of weeks of really hot weather. It gets humid here, so you want to know that. If you have hair that's like mine, it can really play a havoc, and it can grow out this way. But we do get humidity. We have really hot, humid summers. About 2 months, I would say July and August, sometimes going into September, the first couple of weeks. But typically July and August are really hot. And one of the things that you have to know for our summers is an air conditioning unit, or just central air conditioning, is probably almost mandatory. So in my books anyways, I know quite a few of my clients don't have air conditioning or have chosen not to have it. Not a lot of them, I have to say. Most of the houses that you will purchase here will come with air conditioning. Typically, if it's a brand new home, it's either an incentive that the builder is giving, or it's something that you will have to upgrade once you get the keys to your new home. But if you're buying resale, most of the homes will come with air conditioning, because when the days are, or when the nights are hot here, they're really, really hot and it's hard to sleep. We don't have a lot of sort of that tropical breeze, because we're not tropical by any stretch. So even keeping your windows open may not help you on those really hot and muggy nights. So that's just about weather. And let's talk now about the number 2 reason why you may not want to move here. Every city, every large city has traffic. I mean, this is just one of the things. But in Toronto, though we have highways are, some of them are 8 to 12 lanes, it's unbelievable the congestion we have. And what really makes this worse is that it's typically, most of the roads they seem to be under construction all the time, especially when you're going into the downtown core. And so really, when you come here and you think about, traffic and congestion, we are probably one of the worst in our roadways for that. And if you have a car, then you may want to look at either carpooling with people, so that maybe to lessen the number of cars that are on the road. You may be able to obviously use some of the public transportation, so maybe you can drive your car and park it at a subway station. But the traffic, congestion, and construction is bar none. Like, lived here for over 40 years, and I still sometimes go down certain roads and think, my God, this road has been under construction for the last 5 or 10 years. But it just seems that, they're always doing a lot of work, we have a lot of potholes, so they're, doing the work that needs to get done to keep our roads in good condition. And really, it's all part of living in a large city, especially if you're working downtown. Now, of course, for a lot of people with COVID-19, the traffic has lessened a little bit, I have to say, not a whole lot. I've driven to downtown Toronto showing clients condominiums, and we're still finding in the rush hour, peak hour times, it's busy. It's really quite busy, even with people working from home. So that is, a negative if you really can't handle being on the road an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours at times. And really, get this, if it's a snowstorm, you could be potentially stuck on the road 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. So you want to make sure you got a full tank of gas, because this happens. I know a lot of people say, oh no, it's not going to happen to me. Well, if you move here and you're stuck in a snowstorm and you're on any of our 400 highways, you may get stuck on it, 3, 4, 5 hours, as I mentioned. So you want to be prepared. Like, it's one thing to, know that, okay, you know what, it's going to take me an hour to get to work. But put in our inclement weather, and you can really be stuck and not really enjoy it, because I don't. And so as a realtor, of course, I'm driving all over the city. I get to travel on the different highways and the different roads, and I typically am not going during rush hour, because our clients, generally we start showing homes around 9:30 in the morning. By then the traffic has died down. And in the evenings for showings, it's really easy as well, because we typically go in after 6 o'clock, and again, the traffic has died down. But if you're working and you're traveling anywhere around the city, not just the downtown core, traffic's going to be a bother. And I gotta be honest, and I gotta tell you, this is not going to be the easiest thing if you're going to drive your car around the city during peak hours. Number 3, we're going to talk about housing. Now, housing is cheap. Actually, no, I'm kidding you. Housing is really expensive here. We cannot really sugarcoat this in any other way but to tell you that it is really, really expensive to purchase a home. The Toronto Real Estate Board yesterday put out a report that the average price in Toronto is about $1.2 million. Now, before you have a coronary, I want to tell you that around the Greater Toronto area, some of the cities, some of the other towns that are neighboring the downtown core, the Toronto pocket, there are cheaper homes, and there is the ability to buy something under $1 million. But overall, I just want to kind of point this out that our housing is expensive. Typically, we attribute about 40 to 45% of our income to support our housing. So, this is something that you have to really be cognizant of, that it's going to cost you a lot to live here. And, that's just the reality of it. Of course, we're in a very big city. We're in a booming market. It is a seller's market right now, which just means that we have low inventory in housing, far more buyers in the market. And we really help our buyers win at multiple offers, because that's what's going on right now. Is a lot of the properties that get listed get more than 4, 5, 6, upwards of 10 offers, and you have to be positioned properly to get that offer accepted. And a lot of people work with our team to be able to get their hands on a property, but it's expensive. That's the bottom line. Can't sugarcoat that any other way, except you've got to be able to afford to live here. Otherwise, really, you can't move here, right? So that is number 3. Reason number 4 is actually going to surprise you. But before I share it, I want to ask you for a favor. If you're liking this video, help me out by clicking the like button on the video so that it can get out to more people who may be thinking of moving to Toronto, and maybe these reasons will help them decide if they should or should not move here. So go ahead and click that like button now. Let me share with you number 4. Overall, Canadians are very nice people. You've heard we're probably the nicest in the world. We love to say please and thank you. But Torontonians have a reputation of being standoffish and a little unfriendly. I've talked to many of my clients who've moved here over the years, and they say to me that this is their experience, that although people are polite, they can be a little bit standoffish, and they don't really make the effort to bring you into their network or their circle of friends. So they'll be really nice, but to make that connection is harder. And this is just something that I think when you're in a big city, people get busy, people get really distracted by things that are going on. So you may find that people may not be as friendly as you expect because of our reputation of being just nice people, which I think we are. And of course, I'm probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But this is just something you got to know. It is a reputation that Torontonians hold. Reason number 5, if you are a nature lover, Toronto is not for you. Look, we are a large, booming city with a lot of people and a lot of housing. If you like things like, rock climbing, and you like camping and hiking, and you like all of those outdoorsy types of things, and that's one of your top priorities in terms of lifestyle, Toronto may not be for you, because when you live here, you would have to be traveling a couple of hours at best, or minimum a couple of hours, if not a bit longer, to get into spaces where you can really enjoy that type of lifestyle. So it may not be for you if you're looking for it in your backyard, and that's one of the things you have to consider before moving here. Number 6, this is again, for me, it really plays off number 5, is we've lost a lot of our waterfront to developers. And this is one of the things, like over the years, I've lived here, like I said, for 40 years, and I've noticed that there's been so much that has been built around the waterfront, and we've lost a bit of it, the charm of that beautiful, lake, and that area is just so congested with condominiums, tall rises, professional buildings, that I almost find that beauty that we used to have 40 years ago, 30 years ago, has been lost. And of course, this is something that you have to look at when you're moving into a city that is still growing and continually adding more structures. Reason number 7, although we have free, we all love free, universal health care, the problem with this is that we have tremendous amount of stress on our healthcare systems with the numbers of people utilizing the services, that we have really long wait lists. So if you're looking at needing some sort of treatment, you're going to look at a wait list, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 18 months. I've heard some cancer patients that have to actually, they're waiting for 2 years. So a lot of people are, that need services or those types of treatments right away are going into the United States and paying for it. Or there are local services where you can actually pay for some testing, but it's out of pocket. So this is part of our healthcare system. If you're, typically coming here and even looking for a general practitioner, just a doctor, you're going to find most of them are full. You'll be traveling out of your neighborhood or your particular area that you live in to even get access to a doctor. So this is something that you've got to know. We all need healthcare at some point. You may even be coming in with some healthcare challenges, but you got to know that you'll be waiting for services, anything that's out of the norm. Reason number 8, and it's one of these things that is one of my pet peeves, is we don't have free parking anywhere. If you're in the downtown core, you are going to find metered parking on roads. You're going to find signage of times where you can and cannot park. But the worst part of all of this is finding that spot. So even though it's not free, to find a spot to close to where you're going is another nightmare. And if you don't pay for parking or if you're parked illegally, guaranteed you're going to get ticketed. Like I'm telling you, it's happened to me so much. My clients have all complained about it. And so it's not just in the downtown core. I find that even in the neighboring cities like Brampton, Mississauga, Vaughan, you'll find that there's metered parking and it's being monitored. So this is something that, you got to just know if you're going to be driving a car around, make sure you have either pocket change, a lot of it, or your credit card, because most of them now accept credit cards, and you're going to have to pay for it. Reason number 9. Okay, so this is really more so for the downtown core. It smells no matter what. Like in the summer, I find it's the worst, but it just smells down there. It's so, when you're moving to a place, and especially if you're going to be living downtown, you've got to know that it doesn't always smell the greatest. And no matter how much cologne you use is not going to help you, because you're still going to be smelling all the garbage, and almost smells in certain areas like sewer. A scent that is, I shouldn't really call it a scent because it's just bad. It's awful. So that is a reason I would say you may not want to move here. Reason number 10, and this has gotten me into some trouble several times, is that we have photo radar and speed cameras everywhere. Yeah, I've got to be careful. If you're a driver, you drive like me, I'm all over the city, and I've gotten many tickets. In fact, many years ago, this was about 15 years ago, I actually became uninsurable because I had so many speeding tickets. And of course, that's my own fault, right? That I wasn't following the speed limits. But if you're heavy on the accelerator and you're driving through the GTA, specifically Toronto, there are speed cameras, and you're going to have to be careful because this will affect your insurance if you have a lot of speeding tickets. And if you're going to fight them, it takes time to go get a court date and do all of that. So it's just frustrating. It's just something you'd be aware of. But follow the speed limits and don't run through a red light, because you will get a ticket, and I'd like to protect you from that. So if you've enjoyed this video and you think that these are things that have helped you and that can help others, go ahead and hit that like button. You'll help me out by spreading the word, getting this video out to as many people as possible who are moving here. And look, if you're thinking about moving here, even with all of these negatives, you want to go out looking at properties, looking at neighborhoods, checking out what's available, you got to give me a call. Shoot me a text, send me an email. You can even send that pigeon carrier that we talked about. Anytime, day, nights, or evenings, or weekends, we're here to help you. We've got your back when you're moving into the Greater Toronto Area. Until the next video, I'll catch you later. Ciao.